You're standing in an open grassland and the air suddenly goes quiet. Too quiet. Then you hear it, a sound that makes your blood run cold. Heavy footsteps, a deep rumbling call that vibrates through your chest. You turn slowly, and there it is. 8 feet tall, massive hooked beak. Eyes locked on you with laser focus. A forest racidae, a terror bird, one of the most efficient predators to ever walk the earth. And right now, you're alone, unarmed, and it's moving toward you. Your mind races. Everything you've seen in movies, read in books, heard from survival experts floods your brain. Run in zigzags, climb a tree, make yourself look big, play dead, fight back. There are a dozen strategies swirling in your head right now, but here's the critical question. Which ones actually work? Which ones are Hollywood fiction, and which ones will get you out of this alive? Today we're separating myth from reality. We're testing every popular survival strategy you've ever heard, running them through the science and figuring out what would genuinely give you a fighting chance against one of nature's most perfect predators. Because when it comes to survival, believing the wrong myth could be the difference between making it home and becoming a statistic. Let's find out what really works. First, let's talk about what you're actually facing. The forest racidae, commonly called terror birds, dominated South America for millions of years. They ranged in size, but the largest species stood up to 10 feet tall and weighed over 300 pounds of pure muscle and predatory efficiency. That beak isn't just for show, it's a precision killing instrument. Hooked, razor-sharp, powered by neck muscles that could deliver strikes with devastating force. Paleontologists have found fossil evidence of prey animals with puncture marks that match these beaks perfectly. This isn't a bird that pecks, this is a bird that hammers. The legs are equally impressive. Long, muscular, built for explosive speed. Scientists estimate they could reach speeds between 30 and 40 miles per hour. That's Olympic sprinter territory, except this sprinter doesn't get tired after 100 meters. And here's what makes them particularly dangerous. They were intelligent hunters. Fossil evidence suggests they used strategy, ambush tactics, and possibly even coordinated with others. You're not dealing with a mindless animal, you're dealing with a thinking predator. So now that you know what a terror bird is capable of, let's start testing the myths. We're going to run through every popular survival strategy and see what holds up under scientific scrutiny. Myth number 1, just outrun it. This is probably the most common instinct. Danger appears, you run. It's hardwired into human DNA. Every action movie shows the hero sprinting away from danger. Your legs are already tensing up just thinking about it. So let's test it. Can you outrun a terror bird? The average human running speed is about 10 to 15 miles per hour, and that's if you're in decent shape. Elite runners might hit 20 miles per hour in short bursts. The terror bird, 30 to 40 miles per hour, sustained. But it's not just about top speed, it's about acceleration. A terror bird could go from standing still to full sprint in seconds. You need time to build momentum. By the time you hit your top speed, the bird is already at full throttle. Let's do the math. You're 50 feet away when you start running. You accelerate to 15 miles per hour. That's 22 feet per second. The terror bird accelerates to 35 miles per hour. That's 51 feet per second. In 2 seconds, you've covered 44 feet. The bird has covered over 100 feet. It closes a 50-foot gap in less than 2 seconds. Reality check. You cannot outrun a terror bird in a straight sprint, not even close. This myth is busted. Running straight is essentially ringing the dinner bell. But before you panic, keep watching. We've got more myths to test, and some of them might actually save your life. Myth number 2, run in zigzags to confuse it. Okay, so straight running doesn't work. But you've seen nature documentaries. Prey animals zigzag to throw off predators. Rabbits do it. Deer do it. It's gotta work, right? Let's break down the science. Zigzagging works for small prey animals because they have a low center of gravity and can change direction almost instantly. A rabbit weighs 5 pounds and can pivot on a dime. You weigh significantly more, and your momentum works against you. Every time you cut left or right, you lose forward speed. You're essentially running a longer distance while the predator can adjust its trajectory with minimal speed loss. Think about it like cutting corners on a racetrack. The shortest distance is a straight line. Zigzagging forces you to run the longest possible route. Now let's talk about the terror bird's anatomy. Those long legs give it an enormous stride length. Its body is built for agility, not just speed. It has a flexible spine and hip structure that allows for rapid direction changes. When you zig, it adjusts. When you zag, it compensates. Plus, here's the kicker. You're burning way more energy with every sharp turn. The terror bird, it's making smaller adjustments and maintaining momentum. After 30 seconds of zigzagging, you're exhausted. The bird is just warming up. Reality check. Zigzagging doesn't work against large, agile predators. It might buy you a second or two, but you're actually making it easier by tiring yourself out faster. This myth is busted. If you're finding this helpful, go ahead and hit that like button. We're about to test some myths that might actually give you a chance, and you'll want to remember which ones work. Myth number 3, climb a tree to safety. This one seems logical. Birds can't climb, right? Get vertical, get safe. You've seen it work in movies 100 times. So you spot a tree, sprint toward it, pull yourself up, and boom. Safety. Let's test this scientifically. First question, are there even trees available? Terror birds lived in open grasslands and scrublands. Dense forests weren't their primary habitat. So in the environment where you'd most likely encounter one, trees might be sparse or non-existent. But let's say you're lucky and there's a tree nearby. Can you reach it before the bird reaches you? You're 50 feet from the tree. You're running 15 miles per hour. That's 5 seconds to cover the distance. The terror bird is faster. It covers the same distance in 2 seconds. You don't make it to the tree. But okay, let's give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's say you had a head start and you actually reach the tree and start climbing. Now what? Here's where it gets interesting. You're safe from immediate attack. The terror bird can't climb, but now you're trapped. You can't stay in a tree indefinitely. You'll get thirsty, hungry, your muscles will cramp, your grip will weaken. The terror bird doesn't need to catch you right now. It just needs to wait. And predators are exceptionally good at waiting. They're patient, they conserve energy. Meanwhile, you're burning calories clinging to a branch. Eventually, you have to come down. Maybe it's in an hour. Maybe it's in 6 hours. Doesn't matter. When your feet touch the ground, the bird is still there. Reality check. Climbing a tree can work as a temporary escape, but it's not a solution. It's a delay tactic. If you have no other options and help is coming, sure. But as a standalone survival strategy, this myth is partially busted. It buys time, but doesn't guarantee survival. Myth number 4. Make yourself look bigger and scare it off. You've heard this about bears. Make noise, wave your arms, look intimidating. The animal decides you're not worth the trouble and leaves. Simple, right? Let's examine the logic. This strategy works on animals that are risk-averse. A bear might avoid a fight if it thinks you could injure it. Injury means difficulty hunting, which means potential starvation. So bears sometimes choose to avoid conflict. But a terror bird isn't a bear. It's an apex predator that faced very few threats in its ecosystem. It didn't evolve to be cautious of potential prey fighting back. It evolved to be efficient and confident. Now let's talk about size. You're maybe 5.5 to 6 feet tall. You wave your arms, and you might add another foot. The terror bird is 8 to 10 feet tall with a beak that extends its reach even further. You're not bigger. You're not even close. And noise? The terror bird communicated with booming calls that carried across miles of open terrain. Your yelling is background noise. It's not intimidating. It's just announcing your location. But here's the interesting part. Unpredictability might matter. Not because you're scary, but because you're behaving strangely. Prey usually runs. If you're standing still, making weird movements, the bird might pause to assess. Not out of fear, out of confusion. That pause might give you 3, maybe 5 seconds to formulate a better plan. Reality check. Making yourself look big won't scare a terror bird, but acting unpredictably might buy you a few critical seconds. This myth is mostly busted, but there's a tiny kernel of useful truth buried in it. Myth number 5. Play dead and it'll lose interest. This is a classic. You've heard it about bears, sharks, all kinds of predators. Just drop, stay still, hold your breath. The animal thinks you're already dead and moves on. Let's test this logic. Playing dead works on certain predators that prefer live prey or lose interest when prey stops moving. Some animals have a strong motion-triggered predatory response. No movement equals no interest. But here's the problem. Terror birds were both hunters and scavengers. Fossil evidence shows they fed on carrion as well as live prey. A motionless body doesn't signal not food. It signals easy food. Let's walk through what happens. You drop to the ground. You stay perfectly still. The terror bird approaches. It's cautious at first. It nudges you with its beak. You don't react. Good so far. Then it tests you. A small bite. Not to kill, to verify. The pain is intense, but you don't move. You're committed. The bird takes another bite. Harder this time. You're bleeding now. Your body wants to react, but you suppress it. Here's the fatal flaw. Even if the bird believes you're dead, it doesn't leave. It starts feeding. You're not escaping. You're just making the process easier. Reality check. Playing dead against a scavenger predator is a terrible strategy. This myth is completely busted. You're essentially giving up without a fight. Drop a comment right now and let me know, which of these myths did you think would actually work? I'm genuinely curious what people believe before we break down the science. Myth number 6. Fight back with whatever you can find. Okay, this is where movies really mess with your head. The hero grabs a stick, a rock fights off the monster, and lives to tell the tale. It's inspiring. It's dramatic. But is it realistic? Let's analyze the physics. You find a sturdy branch. It's about 3 feet long, weighs maybe 5 pounds. You swing it with all your strength. A fit adult can generate maybe 50 to 70 pounds of force in a swing. The terror bird weighs 300 pounds. Its beak can deliver a strike measured in thousands of pounds per square inch of pressure. Your stick hitting its body is like a fly hitting your arm. Annoying at best, ignored at worst. But let's say you get lucky and hit something vulnerable. The eyes? Possible, but you're targeting a small, moving object on a creature that's faster than you. The legs? They're thick, muscular, built to absorb impact. You'd need to land multiple solid hits to cause any real damage. And here's the bigger problem. Fighting means getting close. Close means within range of that beak. One strike to your arm and bones shatter. One strike to your head and you're unconscious. Fighting increases your risk exponentially. However, and this is important, fighting isn't completely useless. If you're cornered with no escape options, fighting might create a brief opening. Not because you'll win, but because you might surprise the bird or cause enough discomfort that it backs up for a second. Reality check. Fighting won't defeat a terror bird, but as a last resort distraction tactic, it might create a momentary opportunity to escape. This myth is mostly busted, but has situational value. So we've tested 6 major myths, and most of them failed. You're probably wondering, is there anything that actually works? Am I just doomed? The answer is no. You're not doomed. But you need to stop thinking like an action hero and start thinking like a survival strategist. Let's move from myths to reality-based strategies. Reality-based strategy. 1. Terrain is your best friend. The terror bird evolved for open grasslands. Flat terrain, long sight lines. That's where it thrives. So your first priority is getting out of that environment. Look for rocky areas with large boulders. The bird's size becomes a disadvantage in tight spaces. It can't maneuver as easily. You can weave between rocks, create obstacles, force it to slow down. Dense vegetation works too. Thick scrubland, heavy brush. Anything that limits visibility and restricts movement. The bird loses its speed advantage. You gain options. Water is interesting. Terror birds likely avoided deep water. They weren't built for swimming. If there's a river or lake nearby, getting waist deep might deter the bird. But this is risky. You're also not a great swimmer with adrenaline pumping through your system. Practical application. If you spot a terror bird at a distance, immediately assess the terrain. Identify rough, complex environments and move toward them. Don't run blindly. Move with purpose. Reality-based strategy. 2. Distance and awareness. The best fight is the one you never have. If you see a terror bird from far away, you have options. Back away slowly. Don't turn your back. Don't run. just create distance calmly. Predators are less likely to initiate a chase if prey doesn't trigger their chase instinct. Slow, deliberate movement signals you're not fleeing, you're not acting like food. Keep your eyes on the bird, but don't stare directly. Direct eye contact can be interpreted as a challenge. Peripheral vision works fine. You can track its movement without escalating the situation. If you're in a group, stay together. Multiple humans are less appealing than a single target. There's safety in numbers, not because you can fight better, but because the risk-reward calculation changes for the predator. Practical application. Prevention beats cure. Stay aware of your surroundings. If you're hiking in areas where large predators might exist, constantly scan the environment. Early detection gives you time to avoid conflict entirely. Reality-based strategy. 3. Create barriers and obstacles. Let's say you didn't see the bird until it was close, and now it's actively pursuing you. You need to buy time. Barriers are your tool. If you're near rocks, position yourself so large boulders are between you and the bird. It can't strike through solid stone, it has to go around. That takes time. Fallen trees work. Thick vegetation works. Anything that forces the bird to adjust its path creates opportunities for you to reposition or escape. Here's a key insight. The terror bird's beak is its primary weapon, but it requires clear striking angles. If you can limit those angles with environmental obstacles, you reduce its effectiveness. Think of it like a knife fight in a narrow hallway versus an open field. In the hallway, the person with the longer weapon doesn't have as much advantage because there's no room to swing him. Same principle applies here. Practical application. Always position yourself with something solid between you and the threat. Circular movement around obstacles buys time and forces the predator to work harder for each attack attempt. Reality-based strategy. 4. Understand the bird's limitations. Every predator has weaknesses. The terror bird is no exception. Its strength is speed and power in open terrain. Its weakness is maneuverability in complex environments. It also has stamina limitations. While it can sprint faster than you, it likely couldn't maintain top speed for extended periods. Predators evolved for short, explosive hunts. Long chases waste energy. If you can force the bird into a prolonged pursuit through difficult terrain, its advantage diminishes. You're not trying to outrun it in a sprint, you're trying to outlast it in a marathon through an obstacle course. Another limitation: height. The bird is tall, which means its center of gravity is high. On unstable or steep terrain, it has to move more carefully. You, being lower to the ground, can navigate slopes and uneven surfaces more easily. Practical application. Exploit environmental factors that neutralize the bird's strengths. Steep slopes, rocky terrain, dense obstacles. These are equalizers. Reality-based strategy. 5. The psychological component. Here's something most survival guides don't talk about. Panic kills. Your body's fight or flight response floods you with adrenaline. Your heart races. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your fine motor control degrades. In that state, you make mistakes. You trip. You misjudge distances, you choose the wrong direction. The terror bird doesn't experience panic. It experiences focus. Your survival depends on managing that panic. Controlled breathing, deliberate decision-making. Staying calm doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you're not letting fear control your actions. Practice visualization before you're in danger. Mental rehearsal of survival scenarios creates neural pathways. When the real situation happens, your brain has a template to follow instead of defaulting to blind panic. Practical application. Train yourself to pause for 1 second before reacting. 1 second of assessment can mean the difference between a smart move and a fatal mistake. Before we get to the final reality check, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're diving into more survival scenarios like this, and you'll want to be notified when the next one drops. The final reality check, your actual survival odds. Let's be completely honest. In a random, unprepared encounter with a terror bird in open terrain, your chances are not good. Maybe 20% if you make perfect decisions, maybe 5% if you panic. But those odds improve dramatically with knowledge and preparation. If you understand the terrain, recognize the bird's behavior early, and implement smart strategies, your chances jump to 60, 70, maybe 80%. Survival isn't about being stronger or faster. It's about being smarter. It's about turning disadvantages into advantages. It's about staying calm when everything in your body is screaming at you to freak out. Here's your complete reality-based survival plan. Step 1, stay aware. Scan your environment constantly. Early detection is everything. Step 2, if you spot a terror bird at a distance, back away slowly toward complex terrain. Don't run, don't turn your back. Step 3, if pursuit begins, immediately head for rocky areas, dense vegetation, or water. Avoid open ground at all costs. Step 4, use environmental barriers. Keep obstacles between you and the bird. Circle large rocks or trees to limit striking angles. Step 5, if cornered, create noise and movement to cause hesitation. Use those seconds to reposition or find an escape route. Step 6, if you must defend yourself, target the legs. They're the most vulnerable point. A branch or rock aimed at the knee joint might cause injury or at least pain that creates an opening. Step 7, never give up. Keep moving, keep thinking, keep adapting. The moment you stop trying is the moment you lose. So could you outrun a terror bird? No, not in a straight race. But could you survive an encounter? Yes. If you forget the Hollywood myths and embrace reality-based strategies, the terror bird is extinct, so you'll never face this exact scenario. But the lessons here apply to any dangerous wildlife encounter. Stay calm. Use your environment. Don't believe the myths. Trust the science. Now I want to hear from you. What other survival myths do you want us to test? Shark attacks, bear encounters, getting lost in the wilderness? Drop your suggestions in the comments, and the top voted idea becomes our next video. And remember, survival isn't about being fearless. It's about being smart, prepared, and willing to adapt when everything goes wrong. Stay safe out there, and keep learning. Thanks for watching.